Two pieces of legislation on
Yes.
this ISIS question that have made the papers this morning. The front page of the Washington Times this morning is that Congress is taking a hard look at visa waivers as foreigners join jihadists. What is the Visa Waiver Program, and what are you proposing here?
The Visa Waiver Program is basically where we have approximately 39 countries in which you can come just using your regular passport, come and not have a visa to enter the country. And is a understanding between those countries that we're going to make it easier access to come, visit, trade, and promote those kind of things. Typically, these are very strong allies that in Western Europe and other places that we have great relationships with and have historically had great relationships with. This is a barrier so that if you wanted to go to London, you can buy your ticket, you show your passport, you go over, you don't have to go through the long process of getting a visa to stay. The problem we have now is, and this is what my piece of legislation does, is H.R. 5434 says this: we need to suspend this for now. This program needs to be temporarily suspended. We need to have a report from the GAO outlining and certified that this says this is what the problem is at this point. Here's how we can correct it. Because one of that plays into the bigger theme of our border security that we've been talking about on other issues is not knowing who comes in and out of our borders. One of the things that we found over time is that our many of those who are here in our country illegally, most came on a visa and just let it expire. So you're looking at 40 to 50% of those that we talk about as being illegal in the country came legally. We've got a program that's broken with the Islamic State fighters having Western passports, and if they're not for some reason hitting a terror list or a watch list, Prime Minister Cameron has already said we don't know who's coming in and out. We've had that issue here with the Americans going to fight with the Islamic State. We've got to actually be able to put this in place so we can make sure they come in.
You want to suspend the program. Is there support for that? And will this get a vote or some version of it?
Well, we're hoping so. And I think what we're doing is we're not doing away with the program. We're simply saying for 180 days, we're looking at saying we're going to suspend this program so that we can make sure that we, along with our allies who are under this program, have the ability and the controls in place, whether it be background checks or suspending the program. We're open to either one, but we've got to make sure that we understand who's coming in and out of our country so that we are protecting ourselves as best we can. This is an entry-exit problem, and we've got to make sure that when they come into the country, we know that who's coming in and we know when they're leaving. And that's the problem that right now we just do not have, and it's comes out of our free society, but at this point this is a simple common sense measure to say let's watch what we got coming in.
The Washington Times reported this morning that the issue is bound to come up Wednesday when the Homeland Security Secretary Jay Johnson testifies to the House Homeland Security Committee. Mr. Kerry also could face questions over the program in his appearances before Congress this week. Next to that is this graphic that shows more than half of the countries in the U.S. Visa Waiver Program have citizens who have joined Islamists fighting in Syria, sparking fears that they could circumvent the usual checks and gain easy access to the United States. Some lawmakers, including our guest here, Congressman Doug Collins on Capitol Hill, have called for those countries to be suspended from visa waivers or for the program to be ended altogether. Congressman Collins, you're calling for a temporary suspension.
We're calling for a suspension for 180 days to get a report, to let the report to Congress look at the risk, look at the mitigation factors, know that. And we're also actually looking at it as well that would say what is the impact to tourism and trade. We understand that this would be. And what we're saying, this is just it's not just an American response. Again, Prime Minister Cameron in Britain, they have the same kind of issues. One of their own is, been front and center in the beheadings. So I think when you look at this, how does this actually affect? Many over time have entered through the Visa Waiver Program. These are issues that we can look at and say, is there a better way to do this? Is there a background check possibility? Is there a better visa to make sure that we're controlling our borders, knowing who's coming in and out to the best of our ability? And I think this is just a very common sense look at what we're doing, and especially when you look at our borders and the entry-exit problems we have on our southern borders. But this is a program that deals with flying into Dulles, flying into D.C., flying into Atlanta. I mean, someone from, we'll just use Western Europe or one of these visa waiver countries can literally come in, they walk through customs, they can be done within 10 to 15 minutes of coming through, getting off the plane. So this is a program that we need to look at, especially in light of the fact that a lot of them are foreign fighters and then may be dispersed throughout the